Okay, good morning, folks. Hail, hail, and welcome to the latest edition of the Belfast Boys Celtic podcast, live on 15th of January, and it's 2017. First podcast of the new year, so happy new year to all the Tims worldwide, wherever you may be. Joined on the show today with a very special guest in the lovely Lisa Miller. Top of the morning, Lisa. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great, love. Doing great. Thank you very much. It's if you can let me know what the sound's like, guys. I've got Lisa calling in this morning through Skype. So anybody that's in the chat room or anything, or anybody that's listening, if you can send us, myself or Lisa, a message, that would be great to let us know how the sound is going. So, Lisa, having a quick look at the league table, looking absolutely glorious. After the new year, so played 20 games, won 19, drew 1, 58 points on the board, and a game in hand. What's your feelings?
Not too shady, is it?
No, not too.
Not too bad a place to be in.
Not too shady.
I was laughing the other day. I seen some of the Sevco fans posting about being in Europe, obviously for their friendly, and somebody replying to say, we're in Dubai. You absolute muppets with a 19-point gap at the top, and we're chilling, taking it easy, and I just thought, brilliant. It's not a gap anymore, Brian, it's a gaping chasm that's opened up, and it's in the next position.
Yeah, it's a bit of a canyon at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's doing. In fairness to them, they were away in where were they? Hamburg or something. I think they were over fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, Leipzig or something. Yeah.
So.
I think they're still there, and I think they're causing bother as usual. So.
Yeah, I think it's just to make sure their passports still work. It's been a couple of years since they've had to use them. So were you at the game on New Year's Eve?
I wasn't at the game, which I regretted, obviously, in hindsight. Just really busy over the Christmas period, and had a wee kind of spell where I thought, I'm not putting £50 in their coffers, and
yeah.
Going there to be subjected to their hatred for over 90 minutes, and then obviously as the game got closer, I started to regret that decision, and
yeah.
fans were trying to get me a ticket, but it wasn't to be. So I watched the game with my granddad, actually, who's in his 80s, and that was really nice, actually. He doesn't get to a lot of games, so it was good to spend the time with him and see his reaction throughout it as well. So
yeah,
what about yourself? When did you watch it?
I watched it in work. I was actually working. It's one of those it's one of those bittersweet ones, isn't it? Really, where you don't want to fund the bail, but you don't want to miss your team rump.
Well, where's you can caught between a rock and a hard place there. You're thinking, spending that kind of money, giving it to them, it's under their crumbling roof, and as you say, with their bail, and at the same time, our boys need support, and you want to be part of that. So, it was a decision I came to regret, but still nice to watch it with the family as well. So
yeah, at least we got the result that we needed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
and I think quite a few fans in the first 20 minutes were starting to get a wee bit edgy, but I was never in doubt that they would tire, we would press on relentlessly, and we would get the result where we needed it. So it was absolutely fantastic, and even happier day for me. I got a wee tip on Twitter the day before about a wee bet that was on the go with Sky Bet, and it was a kind of 5-piece bet where Celtic had to win, both teams had to score. Scott Sinclair had to score one of the goals, Celtic had to get 7 or more corners in the match, and Tavernier had to be booked. So I stuck just a fiver on that bet, but it was at 22-1.
Happy
so
days.
Patiently throughout the game, everything was falling into place except Tavernier getting booked.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes before that happened, so happy days. I think a few people on Twitter had stuck that on. So
yeah.
To him, we had a happy new year.
Yeah, we certainly did. So I mean, the whole month of December in general was a very, very busy one. The slump month, as it's being known. I don't know if
take a slump like that anytime.
I take a slump like that every month.
It was very busy, and I felt, one of the times I was going to say this morning, right, I'm finding this winter break torture. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I feel it's absolutely dragging in. But at the same time, 9 games in December, what a lot for the boys, and absolutely do not grudge them their trip to Dubai. It looked absolutely marvellous. It was a great time there.
Yeah.
But the winter break's dragging in, but that's coming off the back of a really, really busy December when, you were buzzing, we kept getting the results, sometimes made it difficult for ourselves, but we stuck to it and got through those 9 games unbeaten. So it's kind of the downside after that, after such a buzz.
Yeah. I mean, it's stuff that champions are made of anyway, isn't it? Because it's your ones and your 2-0s. They're your bread and butter games. It was hardly total football at times. And sometimes you were like, oh my god. But listen, it's the score on the board at the end of the game, which is all that matters. And I mean, it's coming up to the game and the Glasgow Derby game and on New Year's Eve. A lot of conspiracy theories knocking around the whole toilet gate thing going on, and they would be inspected after the game. What stood out for me is that they wouldn't be inspected prior to the game, but the whole toilet thing was obviously in the pipeline for since the last drill, and they got at Celtic Park 5-1, and then you've had it just was convenient that the anniversary of the Ibrox disaster was landed on that weekend as well. So I mean, it's I thought that.
Well, that was a strange one, wasn't it? Because I don't think they've had the minute silence before, or certainly they've not always had it. So that was a bit. There was no official announcement beforehand that was going to take place. So I think a lot of our fans thought it was set up for a fall here. With this, are they hoping that we will disrupt that minute silence so that then the Scottish mainstream media can reflect back on these terrible Celtic fans? And don't get me wrong, and it did disrespect that silence. That is absolutely awful, but it just felt there was a sense of feeling as it had been set up here for a potential fall. And pleased to say, although the silence was broken, it was a very, very small minority.
Yeah.
And on both sides actually. So
yeah, there's idiots. There's idiots everywhere. I mean, it's and it's.
And I believe it was that very small minority for our side that did it were quickly, kind of shut down by our fans as they should be. So
yeah, I mean, I was in America there over Halloween, and Michelle Obama was on rallying for Hillary Clinton, and she was saying literally about the whole the Trump campaign, when they go lower we go higher type thing. And I think it's the sort of mentality that we've taken into the game, that we can't let ourselves down, we can't let the club down. And there's a whole it's like a it's a not that it wasn't a community before, but it's more of a united Celtic front at the moment, and we're going together in the same direction from board level to fan. It's we're like a juggernaut at the minute, so I'm absolutely buzzing about that. So let's talk in detail about the game. So we were saying there, the first 20, maybe 30 minutes, the Sevco, they did have us on the ropes. It was a bit of end-to-end stuff, but their tail was up for a while, and I did say that it would come down to fitness, and it did pay dividend in the end.
And I think they hoped that our nine-game run, would take its toll on us in terms of our fitness and in terms of tiredness and things like that. And I was a wee bit of concern in the back of my own mind as well, that they would come out a bit fresher, having in place games and stuff. But ultimately our boys have put the work in, and it's going to pay off, and they just had to power through that 90 minutes or so, knowing that the winter break was round the corner and they could relax. So
yeah,
definitely that first 20 minutes was a bit edgy for us, I think. We felt it almost felt as if they wanted it more at that point, to be honest, which I don't like to say, but I had no and no 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I was anxious for a while. The goal, I think it was a bit of Izzy and Sviatchenko at fault for it, but I mean, we can point the finger of blame all day, but us getting the goal back coming from Dembele, once that happened, I was like, right, happy days, here we go. And then it was all plain sailing really from then until Suntan Sam hit the post in the last couple of minutes. So I mean, it was when they scored, I was saying to myself, I would have took a draw now. But when we did score, I was like, yeah, we have the beating of them here. Then and it would come down to the fitness. But two things that stood out for me, and I absolutely loved it, was Bruni going into standing on top of the advertising boards. I mean, what a...
It's quite an iconic moment, isn't it? It's like, I think everybody knows I absolutely love Scott Brown, and I love how he faces up to them and absolutely
fearless,
being in front of their fans, and it's showing them who's who. And I just loved that moment. I was just like, yes, that's my boy.
what a statement, like, you know. And then Mr. Garner got his comeuppance. He was preparing for Little Mix Away, and I think it was Eric Sviatchenko that actually emptied him, if I'm right, or maybe it was. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then he went to see the team doctor in the infirmary, I believe.
Yeah, and I think he was in A&E at one of the local hospitals, sitting in his full kit and his flip-flops for quite a number of hours. So
yeah,
I think that shows the extent to which they might have fallen.
Yeah.
But that their star is to sit next to an emergency along with everybody else and wait to be triaged. So I think our fans had a lot of fun with that. You know, pictures going about Twitter of sitting in that waiting room. So. Yeah,
I mean, it's a never-ending gift, isn't it? It's I mean, I seen photos there during the week where the roof was leaking, and it was in the. I actually work with a Sevco fan, and I asked him where is that, and he says it's in Club 1872, so it's like their equivalent of Bar 67, and they had like the ice buckets, like an ice bucket in a bar, basically catching the dripping water coming through the roof. So I mean, it's clear that they're short of a few quid. They're making loan signings, but enough about them and more about the champions.
I was just going to say, I think the lead up as well made a lot of fun around our fans jokingly saying they were going to wear hard hats to the game.
That would have been
the problems they've had with the roof. And then I seen through this week they were having a lot of fun at our expense because part of the Jocks team stand and cladding on the outside had come off in the bad weather. So they had a field day with that, but the thing is about us, Brian, we were able to pay and get that repaired on the same day.
Absolutely.
And the very next day there was photos showing that further damage to their own stadium, so
yeah,
we take that in our stride and we can get the wallet out and pay for the damage immediately. There's just still crumbling anyway, And I was just going to say as well, another iconic image that'll live long in my mind for that game, and he wasn't even in the park, was Lee Griffith.
Oh yeah.
At the end, tying the scarf around the goal. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, he talked about Bruni on the advertising boards as a statement. What a statement that was. This is Glasgow, this is our city, these are our colours. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah, and I believe Brendan Rodgers pulled his hamstring when we scored.
That's absolutely brilliant. We made quite a bit of fun about that. Our family, they were comparing it to Matt McNeil and saying, he used to jump up and down all the time.
Yeah.
And never ever injured himself, so he must have been plenty of practice at Irish dance. And Brendan perhaps hasn't.
Absolutely.
In terms of Brendan as well, I mean, this guy, he can do no wrong in my eyes, and he just keeps getting better. He's just what a manager we've got and how lucky we are. And one of the things that really stood out to me was I'm taking the time at the end of that match while our players were celebrating, to go and speak to Barry Mackay and, not just say, hard lines or tough luck. He actually gave him feedback back and encouragement, and I think that's not just the sign of a good manager, I think that's the sign of a great man.
Yeah, he's an absolute gentleman, and I mean the standout players there on that day for me was, like, let's be honest, Mackay was their issue, and their game tactic was to get the ball to Miller, but only for foddering him in goals for them. The scoreline certainly didn't reflect our performance. I could have thought it could have been about 3, maybe 4-1. We could have had more, most definitely, but players stand out for me on the day. Sinclair, obviously, Stuart Armstrong, and Dembele. I thought we were pretty thick at the back, but my man of the match, it was a hard one because there was a lot of a good few stand-up people, but I've been going to go by Scott Sinclair because he had more shots on target than the whole Rangers team. So it was him for me. What about yourself?
I think for me, one of the things I've been really pleased with this season is the change in Stuart Armstrong. I mean, I think he's come on absolute leaps and bounds, and I thought he was outstanding. And I think it's hard for me to say who's the most improved player under Brendan, because I think Brownie's in for a shout with that as well. But I think in the day, Stuart Armstrong would be the man of the match.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a different player, isn't he? And you look.
Absolutely. He's on fire just now, and so is Bruni. So that makes for a great midfield at the moment.
Yeah.
And again, just going back to Brendan, it just shows the difference because he's largely at the moment playing with the same team as Ronnie Dyler and getting so much more out of them, and that's not to make disparaging about Ronnie. I thought he was a nice man, but I don't think he was the right manager for us to take us forward. But it just shows what a change that he has put in those players, not just in terms of their game, but I think in terms of attitude. And one of the other things I think we have massive improvements that would show is the team spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're all there for one another. They're all supporting one another. There's no big egos in the team. It's, as you said earlier, it's about unity. It's about a united front, and you see that in the team all the time. And that's, obviously they've been in Dubai. I think we just got back yesterday or this morning actually. And the photos coming out in there, the camaraderie between the team is absolutely brilliant. So he's really engendered this positive attitude and team spirit, and I think the players are absolutely thriving under it.
Yeah,
you can really see that, and Armstrong's just the epitome of all of that.
Yeah, we're coming across as a unit, and I'm led to believe that Brendan Rodgers is encouraging the team eat together with their families. So I'm talking about on a social basis. So I'm talking like their wives, their kids, and it's a whole family aura around the club at the moment, and it's I mean, if that's true, I mean it's unreal, because you look across different football clubs and they've got their egos, and I think that with Rodgers coming in, he's a humble guy, he's a stand-up guy. I mean, he didn't have to go to Barry Mackay and say, look, give him the feedback. He really didn't have to do that, but that's the type of man that he is. And if you look at the difference between himself and Neil Lennon, I mean, Lennon would have been on doing fucking somersaults on that pitch at that result, and rightly so, because of what he's been through. However, Rodgers is more reserved. He's more of a.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because obviously I did watch the game with my grandparents. My gran felt that some of the tension was out of that fixture between the two teams, certainly, and she thinks a lot of that is down to Brendan and the way he handles things and the way he talks to the media before the games. You'll know yourself, the media have got a habit of trying to whip these games up into an absolute frenzy, and and Neil Lennon would certainly have begun to not to went along with that, but to maybe responded or reacted to that. And Brendan just keeps it very, very calm and incredibly respectful, and he keeps it about Celtic. He doesn't get involved in any tit for tat, and that's brilliant. brilliant. And in terms of the family stuff, I mean, I absolutely believe that's true. I believe they invited the players' wives and their children to Dubai with them.
Fantastic.
And I think that really helps because the players are then able to bring their whole self to work, you know. And what that reminds me of is Martin O'Neill, because I worked at Celtic when Martin O'Neill was the manager, and he was very much that similar vein, very encouraged family interactions as well. And you know, there was then the players' wives formed friendships with one another and supporting one another. The kids became friends, and it just became one big team, if you like, behind the scenes as well. So yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. And on that, actually, did I not see a photo of you with him recently?
Oh yeah. I actually feel like I need to explain myself over that a little bit, because I feel a bit bad over it. So I got wind that what happened is Brendan Rodgers' dad, his dad Malachi, he was cared for in the Northern Ireland hospice, and he was nursed and he died there. To my knowledge, that the sale of his home, Brendan Rodgers donated the sale of his home to the hospice. I believe it was over £160,000. He just gave it to the hospice, and that was before he even came to Celtic. So it's not something that it's not that as if he's inherited the Celtic ethos, but it's more that this is him as a man before he even got here. Conveniently, the Northern Ireland Hospice is literally across. I always spend Christmas at my partner's mum's house, and she lives on the same road as the hospice. Literally, you can look out the window and you can see it. It is quite sad because you do see throughout the year, different like ambulances and stuff turning up. But I seen a big flash Audi pull up, and I seen Brendan Rodgers go into the hospice. So what I done was I bided my time. I took my time, and I was contemplating going and whether or not to go, because I was very worried that there was people inside dying, and this was their Christmas and this was special for them, and was it selfish of me to go over and should I? And if I'm honest, Lisa, I don't get the hell of a lot of games, and for me to meet a Celtic player, let alone a Celtic manager, is a big deal for me. So I don't think I would have. I was sort of selfish, and I went and I stood outside respectfully because I didn't want to go and invade in people's Christmas. And I literally stood outside. I had my coat on and I had it zipped down. You could see my hoops, and he came out with his partner Charlotte, and she actually said, "Do you want a photograph?" And I said, "As long as Brendan doesn't mind." I said, "I can only apologise. It isn't ideal that I be here today. However, I don't get the many games, and I only live across the road." And he says, no problem at all. And he said, "You don't make a habit of standing around street corners often, do you?" and I said I did as a youth, but I'm trying not to make as much of a habit of it now. And I said, "Look, I hope you understand it." He says, "Listen, you don't need to apologise. I totally get it." He says, "I could go anywhere in the world and a Celtic fan would come out from behind a tree and I would be found. We're absolutely everywhere." And I says, "I hope you, I'm absolutely buzzing about the results at the moment, and long may it continue. You've united us as a club, and I'm really, really thankful and grateful for that." And he said, being the humble guy that he is, and the answer that you would expect from him, he said, "Listen, it's a joint effort. It's everyone from top to bottom moving forward together." And I says, "Look, I can't thank you enough for what you've done for this club, and I don't want to keep you back any further from your Christmas. Where you headed now?" And he said he was heading to Carnlough, which is where he's from. So I think he's obviously still got family there, and I know one of his brothers still lives in North Belfast, which is beside where I stay. And I said, listen, have a great Christmas and a happy New Year, and the same to yourself, Charlotte. And she says, and you too. And off they went. And I mean, I was like a child, because it's not something that I would get to do very often. Like games, I would be lucky to get the one game a season. Some can say I'm an armchair fan, but I mean it's down to family and money constraints as well. However, it's he was an absolute gentleman. He was everything that I would expect from a Celtic manager. So what I've done is, because to try and get rid of some of my guilt, because I was hanging around outside the hall. Yeah, I mean, I felt bad. I really did, that I was being selfish, but it was more because of, it wasn't because of him. It was because of the people that were in there. And I mean, so what I'm doing this year is I'm going to run the Belfast Marathon, and I'm going to do that in aid of the Northern Ireland Hospice. So,
that's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
So I'm by no means slim pickings. I've been trying to lose a few pounds since the new year. It's been going okay. But what I've also done is I have recruited some colleagues in work to join me. We're actually, I'm not going to do the full marathon, so before anyone gets excited, we're going to do it as a relay. 26.2 miles, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing about Belfast is there's like pubs every mile, so so I might get there in the end. But it's so the guys in work, we're going to do it as a relay, and I believe at the moment there's 14 of us doing it. Just to put it out there, some of these guys are Sevco fans, so there are good in all people. So I have to. My friend who's a Rangers fan sometimes listens to my podcast and challenges me on any shite that I talk. Well, allegedly talk. So shout out to Jamie, and he's going to be joining me with his brother allegedly. So 14 of us, and we're all going to be doing it for hospice. So hopefully that will be my penance for hanging around in street corners. So.
It's a terrific thing you're doing, and as you say, I've met Brendan now. I've been lucky enough to meet him several times. In fact, I met him very early on in his time as Celtic manager when I was in Slovenia, and I've just found him to be a lovely, lovely person every time. And I actually had a wee incident myself just before Christmas, the day of the Patrick Thistle game.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with my work where I had to meet a client in a hotel, and we were supposed to meet at lunchtime that day, and she'd phoned me up in the morning to say you should push it back to 3 o'clock because something else had come up. So we went along, I met her in the hotel, we were sitting in the lobby, we were full on in a business discussion, very serious stuff, and I looked up and I just went to her, I don't believe it. She says, what is that? I says, look. And she turned round, and there was the full Celtic team had walked into the lobby, and this woman who I was meeting with did not have a clue who they were, and who didn't know anything about football, so I had to explain to her who they were. As more and more of them trooped in, so they ended up sitting at the side seats right beside us, so I had a lot of trouble focusing on my business meeting, I have to say, after that.
Ever the professional, Lisa?
Sorry?
Ever the professional?
I know. I found myself getting distracted, and I kept trying to go back to the discussion in hand, and then at one point I think my eyes must have widened, and she said, who's making you react like that? And of course it was Bruni had just walked in, so again I had to explain who he was, and she said, you're going to get photos with him, and I get teased a lot, Brian, because I've got a lot of photos with the team. I meet them at different events quite regularly, so I'm very lucky that way, so I get teased constantly.
Definitely.
And I said, there's no way I'm going up to all of them to ask me photos. But she was then quite excited, and she says, well, you need to ask at least one. Who would you ask? And I said, well, Scott Brown.
Of course.
So we went up, and again, very respectfully, I said, Scott, could you bother you for a photo? And I've met him lots of times as well, and he's brilliant. So, but of course, this woman I was meeting was taking a And she said, "Oh, hello, I believe you're Scot. I don't have a clue who you are." I believe you're the Celtic captain. It's nice to meet you. And I was getting quite embarrassed because I just wanted a quick photo and a mate. And then Scott Sinclair came out and I hadn't met him before, so I did get a photograph with him.
Yeah.
Brendan wasn't around at that point, and I went to use the toilet facilities, and I came out the toilet and I bumped straight into Brendan. We actually clashed. And it was one of these surreal moments where I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I'm walking away going, "That's Brendan Rodgers." And I bumped into Griff as well, and asked him if he was starting that night. Also, and he told me, he was on the bench and stuff like that. Had a bit of a chat with him, and it was brilliant. And I said to them, because I'm leaving from here to go to the game tonight. Because obviously I get a lift in the team bus with them. So, so a lot of people I know are saying that was not a coincidence, Lisa, that you were in that same hotel, but I promise you it was.
You're normally.
Just bumping each other everywhere.
You're normally hanging around outside their houses, aren't you?
Well, somebody sent me a message saying Scott Brown's getting in his training order out.
Very good, very good. So, I mean, looking at the media, so obviously in the transfer window there, Lisa, there was a lot of talk about Dembele moving on, and where a West Ham bid was allegedly tabled of 20 million. But also what I noticed was some Celtic greats coming and rushing out to, well, 3 Celtic greats and one absolute colossal footballer giving advice to Musa. So the Celtic greats, obviously Sutton had to have a say. Petrov as well and John Hartson coming out and saying, "Listen, Musa, bide your time. I know he's probably had his head turned a little bit, but he seems like he's got his head screwed on as well." And even bigger so, Zinedine Zidane. And I know in Dubai, Dembele met with Nicolas Anelka. I'm not sure what happened there. What do you think on it?
I think he's very much getting his head screwed on the right way. And I think he's getting good advice. I think his agent is particularly very good in terms of not just seeing the pound things, and actually looking at what's best for Musa's own long-term development in the game. So I personally, I think the advice given by those people you mentioned is absolutely sound, and I certainly don't want him to go anywhere, and I don't think he will. I think he loves playing at Celtic. I think he's starting to really get into the ethos of the club and what that means, and he's enjoying his football here. I think he's enjoying being part of that team.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't see him moving anytime soon, and certainly not for 20 million.
Yeah. I mean, what a time to be alive when we're rejecting 20 million bids. I mean,
absolutely.
Fucking hell! Like when can we ever say that's happened? And I mean, I think it sort of gives us an indicator of where we are as a club. And I mean, listen, I don't think there are any more grateful people. Collectively, yes, the Celtic support are grateful. However, I would say Dermot Desmond and Peter Lawwell are absolutely loving this. Because when did you last hear Peter Lawwell's name being mentioned? It hasn't happened at all. And I mean, this is a guy in Brendan Rodgers, and he paid tribute to Dembele's agent for making it happen when we actually signed him. And I mean, Rodgers has taken the whole club on his shoulders. I mean, with the transfer window coming in, I was led to believe that he had 6 million in the kitty to spend prior to going to Dubai. So obviously we brought in Dembele and Sinclair and Doris de Vries were his first 3 signings. I noticed prior to going to Dubai, Moussa Dembele put 3 airplanes on his Twitter feed. Did you see that?
No, I didn't know.
So, but it sent a lot of people. Bear in mind, a lot of people did not know that Celtic were going to Dubai.
Right.
So when your top strikers, oh fuck, he's leaving, no. People saying the rosary and fucking all sorts. So and then we've obviously signed Kwasi Abue, or Abue Kwasi. I'm not sure what way it's worded. He's obviously a product, I believe, of well, maybe he isn't personally. We signed him from Krasnodar, which are a Russian outfit. But did you see his Instagram or his Twitter feed?
I saw the Twitter feed. It was very, very funny.
So anybody that didn't see that, Abue Kwasi Abue, whatever he's called, he posted on his Instagram and he said, "I am very happy today," and it's literally a video of him inside a car, with Celtic Symphony blasting and him dancing. So he got yeah, he'll go far, won't he? I think he was.
I think even his facial expressions and the way he's moving in that clip, absolutely.
I think he's been put up to that by someone, and I'm going to say probably Lee Griffiths. So unbelievable. I mean, it's all good at the moment. So I mean, as far as transfers go, there, Lisa, nothing to do with us, of course. Virgil van Dijk in England at the moment is allegedly going to be moving to one of the big four in England. So top numbers being thrown around. Celtic are entitled to a 15% sell-on clause, the same as we got and applied to Victor Wanyama's contract, and also Fraser Forster has a 15% sell-on clause in his Southampton contract. So I mean, with him moving on, we've got a $6 million transfer kitty. The team are playing very well. Yes, Brendan's obviously going to try and make tweaks. I probably expect Beaton to move on. Apparently he doesn't want to go, but I mean, that's just the word on the street. But I mean, with the windfall we'll get from Virgil van Dijk, you're probably looking between 5 and 7 million, depending on what he goes for. Do you expect that to go into the coffers, or do you think he'll be given a little bit more money to spend?
I think he'll be given a bit more money to spend, and where he spends it's obviously up to him, and I've got lots of faith in him, but I'd like to see him bring in a few more defensive options, certainly.
Yeah.
And think about maybe the longer term, what happens to Patrick Roberts at the end of the season as well, so it might be different just now.
Yeah.
But it's a case of wait and see, and I think I've heard similar rumours about Beaton. I think Ambrose has also been approached by France. And I mean, let's face it, Ambrose hasn't featured all season. Lovely big man, but it's time that he moved on as well. And I believe O'Connell's been out on loan to Walsall to the end of the season. I think it was rumoured to be going to initially, but he's went down south. And obviously, he touched on Chris Coleman's situation as well.
Yep.
He's obviously went on emergency loan to Hibs. But I fully expect that to be extended to the end of the season. His loan period there, he's doing well for him in that team, and I think he said last night that he would be happy to stay there at the end of the season. So we have seen and we will see some movement out, and I think I can't pronounce his name or whatever it is. I've seen a lot of people saying.
You may not know his name. You may not know his name, Lisa, but you probably have his postcode already.
He's too young for me, right? He's only 19. Come on. I'm not that bad. I've seen a lot of people question where is he going to fit in though, given he's a midfielder, and given what we chatted about earlier about how well Rooney and Armstrong have come in, but Brendan has going to the rotation and giving players an rest and bringing young players on, so I think he will fit in. And it was interesting to see that the influence that Colo Touré had on his decision to come to Celtic as well. I had a wee giggle in one of his interviews described. He said, Colo is a big man. Well, I haven't met him yet. But I've also heard, people chatting about Colo maybe moving any more in a coaching type position within the team, within the club as well.
Which is fantastic.
He's not had a lot of kind of match time recently.
Yeah.
And he is I think he's almost ages with myself, dare I say. So.
Yeah, Toure has an academy in, I think it's the Ivory Coast he's from, isn't it? Where all these young players are coming through. So, I mean, it'll only stand by us that he'll have an insight as to what talents are coming out of Africa in general. So, we were doing okay before with Wanyama coming through and stuff like that, and we were with when John Parks was at the club. But I mean, it's with the whole setup now. We'll probably get money for Van Dijk moving on. But how contract wise, how is Beaton's contract? Is he out in the summer? And what about Easy?
I'm not 100% on that. I think he is, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is with him and Izagiri, I'm just thinking that do we have will we get a money value for them? It's not to get money for people when they move on. We're normally pretty shrewd that way. But I mean, if we're getting between 5 and 7 for Van Dijk, you might get something for Izzy and something for Beaton. I mean, for Beaton, you would get good money for Beaton in all honesty. So and it's alleged that it's going to be Spain. So I mean, it's with the whole snowball of transfer activity that are happening. Stemmed from the Dembele thing, and West Ham fans coming up and saying, "Well, why would you want to play for Celtic?" and blah 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 blah. And the very next day they get tanked by Man City.
Why would you want to play for you?
I know, for fuck's sake, like unbelievable.
You touched on something interesting there, was in terms of I think a lot of people expected Izzy himself expected to be out at the end of last season. It certainly at the last game of the season said his goodbyes to the Green Brigade, and there was tears and it was very emotional, and obviously that didn't happen, and thank God, given what's happened to Kieran Tierney this season. I think Izzy has come in and done not an outstanding job for us, but a good robust job.
He's filled the void.
But I do think he will move on into this season. So I've seen, somebody describing it as the long goodbye.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that has absolutely bought the club, and you've seen that with the tears when he thought he was moving on as well. So I will be sad to see him go. I think he's been a good, faithful servant to the club.
Absolutely.
But having said that, I cannot wait to hear Tierney comes back.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of players there would have been, oh yeah, well you're only playing me because he's not fit. That wasn't. It was his whole attitude towards. Yes, he loves it. Come on, let's be honest. He fucking loves it here, But
and I think he's been great with Tierney. There's been no jealousy, nothing like that. Just complete support and actually helping the guy develop and almost pride in Tierney and how far he's going, and delighted to have that chance to be playing again, albeit not in the circumstances he would have liked. But he's just a nice guy. There's none of that kind of bad stuff about him or bad feeling about him. Just terrific.
Absolutely. So I mean, it's Rodgers obviously. I seen in one of his pre-game press conferences that he did say the people that are to go have been told they are to move on. So, and I mean, it would be hard to hate him, because he's just nice to everyone, and it brings me back like to an old like girlfriend of mine years ago. She was going out with a guy, and I was like trying to go out with her. So obviously she chose me because I'm a pure keeper, and and they had booked to go on holiday, her and her ex boyfriend. So I was like, well, look, you can still go. I don't mind, but she wanted me to come with her. So it was literally me, her, her ex-boyfriend, a couple of her friends, and a couple of other fellas. Yeah, I was fucking, honestly, I was like, geez. It was really fucking up. It was really awkward. But when I got there, they had made arrangements to go and do things. So I says, you go ahead. But she says, but I'm going with such and such. And I says, look, it's cool, go ahead. So, I mean, when they went, I think it was jet skiing or something they went to do, and she came back and she says that he was very remarkable about me, and she says, like, if truth be told, I shouldn't like Brian, but he's a really nice guy. So I mean, it reminds me of that. Not that I'm a nice guy all the time. The missus will tell you different, but it's just Rogers is just he's hard to hate. He's just so humble. He's just.
And I think what you're describing is he's managing the expectations, and managing that process, that exit process with them, which psychologically is better to start and have built the lead up to as well. But I can't believe you went holiday with your girlfriends and our recently ex-boyfriend.
Oh no, it's fucking.
Oh man, yeah.
I know I am. Honestly, I was dreading it though. So, I mean, I look at briefly the management team that Rogers has integrated there. So, I mean, when Dyla was there, there was allegedly, like, I don't know if this is a myth or not, but there was like 19 backroom staff there, dietitians and fucking, I don't know, sports scientists and all these wonderful people with degrees, and 19 people. Apparently there was more like backroom staff than there was first team players. I mean, going to the game, I'm not talking about the squad size, I'm talking about in the squad for the game. So you'd have had 15 players, and then you would have had 19 backroom staff. And I mean, if you look at Rogers, they're narrowed that down to 7, I believe. And the Chris Davies is the guy that he's came in as his assistant, isn't that right?
Yes.
And
he's a guy who's very impressive. I've seen him recently quite a few times giving press interviews, and he's equally as impressive as Brendan. So.
And he came from Reading. He came from Reading. Sorry, he came in from Reading, and just to bring you back, that was where the whole Mark McGee spot came from.
Right.
So if you can remember, they were told not to shoot into the goal and blah 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 and so on. So yeah, but as you were saying there, he's very impressive, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes, and I think after the Mark McGee incident, he spoke out, and I think he firmly put him in his place. But in a very not an aggressive way at all, just quite an assertive way, quite self-assured, very professional at handling the press, so brilliant representative for the club.
Absolutely. So a bit of a long break there. If you think about it, we finished playing football there on New Year's Eve. We've been out training in Dubai. The team look like they've absolutely had a ball. I mean, I've been following their Snapchat, their Instagram, their Twitter, and so on. And they've been out at the races, they've been out jet skiing, and that's all going to be part of a bonding process on its own. We've another week before we kick a ball. I know, for fuck's sake. Sorry to put a dampener on the.
Honestly, I think this is when you realise how big a part of your life Celtic is.
Oh.
Is when there's no games for 3 weeks, and it's just for me that dragged in, not having that excitement. My friends and I, we actually went in the other day to do the stadium tour just to get a Celtic fix.
Get your Celtic hit.
And it was actually, the tour was full and we were devastated, but we bumped into, there was a girl who had travelled down to Aberdeen that day to go the tour and she couldn't get in, and we bumped into a guy who was there with his 5-year-old boy, and I think the Celtic shop in the French Street told him he could just turn up, and my boy was absolutely heartbroken. So I have to say Celtic were absolutely fantastic with us, and whilst we didn't get the full tour, we got took into the main areas for very quick photographs, and that wee dressing room was absolutely amazing. So hats off to Celtic for that. But that's one of the ways I've tried to get a bit of my Celtic during this break.
It's but if you think about it, it makes its totally logical sense. So it's 3 weeks off. They had 2 weeks together. They'll probably have a week now with their families. Maybe start to bring in a little bit of training near the end of the week. But if you think about it, that's us now. Probably until you get 2 weeks in the summer, pre-Champions League, and then that's it till the next January transfer window. So it's a busy schedule that our players have. We play.
I was looking ahead last night. I was just noting some of the dates in my diary, kind of planning ahead for the year, and we've got a really busy run of games coming up. So I think whilst this 3 weeks has been painful without it, we'll soon get that hit back again, and we'll be really into those busy times. As you say, I think it'll be a while before they get another break. So they definitely, I mean, nobody can deny them that break at all. They really, really deserved it. And I think they've made the absolute most of it. I loved seeing their photos actually. It was terrific to see them enjoying their share and training in the sun. And I think they had an open training session as well on maybe their second class day. And there was lots of Celtic fans over there and we spent time with them. And they done similar to us in Slovenia when I was over pre-season tour. It wasn't an open training session, but certainly after their last game in Maribor, they all come out and spent a lot of time with us. So they are taking the time for the fans over there as well. Saw a photo today on the plane home, Bruni and Craig Gordon sitting either side of a wee boy on the plane, and the wee boy's dad posted it saying thanks to Celtic for absolutely making us on the day. So they've had a ball, they'll be feeling rested, they'll be feeling refreshed. I think they'll be up for it. I don't think it'll have disrupted the flow of the kind of play at all. I don't think I think they'll get straight back into it, and I'm absolutely buzzing and desperate to go, even though the next game's Albion Rovers, and it's hopefully for me it's at the Excelsior Stadium in Airdrie, and that's literally about 5 miles from the house. So I've got my ticket for that, and I just can't wait to see them again. Just can't wait to get in amongst fellow Celtic fans and get singing my hat out and
that's it.
Boys on. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I mean, even more so that they'll be feeling the cold because it's absolutely fucking freezing.
Welcome to Glasgow.
Big of bhoy, I'll not know what's going on. So as you said, Albion Rovers then, that's an away game. You said it's at the Excelsior Stadium. That's a cup game.
Completely sold out, Brian. Completely sold out. Very quickly.
And you've noticed that as well, Lisa, and I'm sure the other clubs in the league will have noticed it. Holy shit. Not that we didn't bring a big away support the games before, but I mean, even more so now, like, our fans, I've seen like tweets going to Albion Rovers, when can I get a ticket? Do you have any tickets? And I mean, it's been a while since you've seen that sort of concerted effort. That I'd like to see what Hearts are going to do with their away support, because they normally restricted our numbers to 1,500 in recent seasons there.
I think teams that do that have cut off their own nose to spite their face, because so many times I go to away games and I watch away games on the TV, and I have, especially the ones I watch on the TV, I have tried desperately to get a ticket to go to those games, and maybe, not been successful in that, and then you watch, their stands and they're half empty, 3/4 empty.
Yeah.
And you think you're not doing your own club any favours, you're not selling us more, not giving us a bigger allocation.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness,
I think it will be interesting to see if that changes.
Yeah, in fairness, we could probably sell most of their stadiums out. I mean, just with the whole, it's like an urgency now around Celtic, and it's absolutely fantastic. But that game for us, Lisa, obviously being a cup game, and I'm going to ask you a question. So, are we on for an invincible season, or are we on for a treble invincible season?
We're on for a treble invincible season.
That's the spirit. That's what I wanted to hear.
We are on for it. I've put it in my diary. Scottish Cup final, 27th of May. It's in my diary as a commitment, so we'll be there.
Yeah, I hope we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but I mean, all the signs are there that I believe we're more than capable, and I mean, it hasn't been done there since Martin O'Neill's time, a treble. But I mean, what a way for Brendan Rodgers and the team now to embed themselves in Celtic folklore. Not that they're not doing it already. We've done six titles in a row, but it's like
It's just the feelings there, right? That it's going to happen. I can't feel it not happening, if you know what I mean. It just feels the way everything's been going this season. And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, I don't want to jinx things, but I feel so strongly that
this is our time.
Going to pan out for us.
Yeah, I think
and
it's
that week as well as the week in the Scottish Cup final. I mean, the 27th of May, obviously the 50th anniversary of Lisbon will be on the Thursday that week.
Jesus Christ. No pressure, like. No pressure.
But what a brilliant way then to mark that.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly.
Honestly.
And on the Sunday we've got the charity match for the Celtic FC Foundation.
Yes.
Where I think Henrik's Heroes against Lupo's Legends. So, I mean, if you think about it in terms of that week, the Sunday previous or the Saturday previous, whatever day the game's going to fall, will be the final game of the season. So,
Fever pitch.
I mean, what a week. I'm booking that week off work.
I think I might do the same. It'll be absolute fucking fever pitch. So yeah. Absolutely. So Lisa, have you anything else more to add? Because I think we're about done here. I just want to give a couple of plugs. Have you anything you want to say or anything you want to add?
It was just a couple of wee things I was going to say. Did you see the clip from the Pointless quiz show with the Henrik Larsson?
Unbelievable.
Absolutely brilliant.
And they got tickets. They got tickets to go and see go to the game.
I think I've seen that, yeah. So that's absolutely brilliant. And what advice to give? You know, just answer Henrik Larsson. It's a football question. So absolutely brilliant. And that clip's went viral, I think, as well. One of the other wee things I did want to plug was the Wilfred's Wish campaign that the Celtic FC Foundation has got going just now.
Yep.
So I've been to quite a lot of events and things with the Celtic FC Foundation. They do an absolutely tremendous job. The work they do does us and our club proud, and it really carries on the ethos of our founding fathers. And they're asking for support. They're asking for people to become a champion of the foundation under the banner of Wilfred's Wish. And to do that, people, all they need to do is text 70020, and that will take £3 a month off them, which people potentially wouldn't miss. It's a small amount, but if everybody does it, it adds up to a lot. And one of the charities they're supporting is the Glasgow North East Food Bank, and there's a fantastic video just now with Kate Gordon.
Seen that?
To that food bank.
Yep.
With the coordinator, lovely Tara Maguire. So I encourage folk to have a look at that and see the good work that the foundation does. But it's got a very wide reach. It's involved in a lot of initiatives, and I'm very fortunate. I'm going to look at one of their events later this month. It's the Tommy Burns Supper.
Yeah.
Which used to happen, in the days when Tommy was with us, and it was run by the University CSC, and they chose to retire that when Tommy sadly passed. But with the support of the family, it's decided that in conjunction with the foundation that'll start up again. So I'm off to that at the end of this month. Really looking forward to it. So again, great job the foundation does, and I encourage everybody to support them.
Outstanding. I just seen Paul Larkin received a letter from them the other day and thanking him for his donation. Paul donated a fair bit of money there to them, so fair play to him. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying, Lisa?
No, I was just going to say some of the other things I just wanted to touch on very briefly was some of the abuse that's been handed out to Celtic supporters recently on the back of the New Year's Day game.
Yep.
There was more abuse in respect to young JB, which is just
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous. It's disgusting. And we've seen a Celtic fan who has a condition called H syndrome.
Yep.
There was a meme produced, again, absolutely disgusting, horrifying. And these people that are doing this should be utterly ashamed of themselves. They're just absolute cowards in my eyes, and they target people who are more vulnerable, people with disabilities. There was racial abuse towards Musa Dembele as well. Just really despicable, but in the light of that, the support that Celtic fans have given has been absolutely tremendous, and just what you would expect, you know. The guy, Craig Byrne, the guy with H syndrome, I think he went from having 40 followers on Twitter to he's now got well over 4,000 and lots of kind of supportive messages kind of around that. So just people that are doing that, just stop it. It doesn't make you big, it doesn't make you clever, and just
not nice. It's not nice at all. And fair play for mentioning that, because it's an absolute disgrace and it's inhumane. So also just a couple of plugs from me. Not the obviously we're plugging charities and things here as well. The Kano Foundation is, don't forget about that. Keeping football free for kids, and the club could be doing more. But obviously, with the season ticket sales this season, it's not always ideal. But I know their season book sales for the Kano have gone up this season, so absolutely fantastic.
And I was in touch yesterday actually with Joe from the Kano Foundation, Joe Mackin. So details of their annual dance will be coming out very, very soon, and people will be able to provide support in that way by going along at the dance and getting involved in the raffles, etc. there. So that's one to watch out for this month.
No problem. Also, Walk with Shay. Don't forget that as well, guys. I know we're sort of inundating you here with great causes, and everybody has a cause, but I mean, some of these people are less fortunate than ourselves, and you think you've got issues and you need to, not that these people are charity cases, but it's always nice to help those that are less fortunate than ourselves. So, anything else, Lisa?
No, I don't think so, no.
No problem.
Thanks for asking me on, that was really nice.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute. It's just goes to show them that the us and the homeboys are the non-chauvinistic podcast on Hill Media. So I just want to give the guys in the chat room a shout out there as well. Mark Callahan there from the Ball Boys, Davy Boy, good lad himself, Davy Boy, Paul Gibson.
Big Daddy Pedro.
Oh, Big Daddy Pedro, he's the man. And we got Barney Boy in there as well. Also, don't forget to check out the other podcasts available on Hill Media. Homeboys, Smell the Glove podcast, love that show. The Ball Boys, Colonial, there with Ewan, fantastic podcast. I believe.
Did you see the Colonial's latest listening figures?
Unreal.
His last show.
Unreal.
Nearly 10,000.
And it's great to see Yompy back on the scene as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
Top guy, so he is.
Top guy.
Yeah. I believe we've lost nothing but respect and Celtic rock and roar, so I just want to give a special mention there to those guys, and Stephen Ray as well. Hope you're well, brother. Half the world away, the History Boys, and don't forget to check out Chris's Celtic Dream show on tonight, 10 a.m. Celtic Park time. Give Chris a show a listen, it's absolutely fantastic. Also, Paul Larkin is touring his Anyone But Celtic tour at the moment. Are you penciled in for any of those, Lisa?
I was at the premiere actually, Brian. Yeah, I was there the night back in November. So
great. Don't spoil it for me. I'm going to the one in Larne in April.
Right.
But I'm sure it was everything to be expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah.
Great, top guy, Paul. Also check out the rest of Paul's stuff there. The Last Pearl Labor. All those fantastic books, the Asterix Years, which is now free to air, which is pinned to Paul's Twitter profile. You can also check those out at ls86productions.com. Okay, I think it's .com or it might be .net, but if you type in ls86 productions, you should get it on there anyway. Okay, that's all from me. Lisa, nothing else to add here?
Nothing else to add. Thanks to everyone that's listened, and a big hail from me.
Hail from me as well. Lisa, see you on the flip side, love. Look after yourself.
You too, bye.
Okay, hail everybody. Bye.
Hail.
Bye.
Hail.
Bye.